Hello, this is Heather Hoffman, and I've got a fun kind of unique card design to share with you today using the December Kit of the Month from Unity Stamp Company. I've already pre-stamped my image and sentiment on just a panel of white cardstock, and I'm going to create kind of an ink blended galaxy background that's going to go behind it. And so really quickly here, I'm going to grab that front panel and just kind of mark where I want to go a little below, or kind of down to that line so it's a little below where I'm actually going to cut out on that front panel. And then I'll start there to kind of blend my ink background. That way I don't blend down too far and leave the colors kind of below where I'm going to end up wanting them to show. So I started off with 2 shades of pink. I did spun sugar and worn lipstick. And then I spun it around so I could start blending up towards the top, starting with tumbled glass. And then I'm going to move into broken china, faded jeans, and chipped sapphire. And I'm just kind of blending across that line. If you look at the tumbled glass, how it mixes with that spun sugar, it kind of gives a little bit of a lavender effect. So you almost get a bonus color in there as well. And I know this kind of feels like a lot of colors for one ink blended background, but it's kind of funny how when you start putting them all on, it just gives more variation and kind of fun for that night sky look that we're going to be going for, kind of a galaxy background almost. All right, once I've gone all the way to my darkest color, I'm going to go back and work through from that darkest back down towards the lighter colors, and it just kind of helps smooth the line. Distress oxides are fun that way because they kind of have that chalky appearance that works really well. All right, now I have that created, I'm going to start adding some splatters. I've pulled out my Starry Colors palette, and I just used my spray bottle to squirt a little bit of water in one of those things and then stir it up with a paintbrush until it kind of wets enough of the paint to make kind of a good gold splatter. You can do whatever your favorite gold splatter. This one's my favorite. I like all the options of colors that I can do and mix and match based on which one I want to use. And then I also wanted to add some white splatters. So I have my mini mister bottle that I have just some inexpensive white acrylic paint mixed with water. I keep it mixed up because I use them so often, but you can also just mix them together at the moment when you want to use them. And then I'm pulling out that darkest color, the chipped sapphire again, and I want to add some splatters with that. So I got a little thing of water in my paintbrush, and for this one I wanted to get finer splatters, so I'm kind of flicking off the edge. I don't know if you can kind of see as I push with the brush. It's a little hard to see when it's in the box there, but when I pull it out you can kind of see it gives a fine darker splatter over the top. So we've really got a fancy night sky here going. So now I need to do that cutout design, and I didn't really have a die that I could use perfect for that, so I grabbed just a simple pencil and sort of sketched on where I want to go, and I'm going to cut on the other side of that. I'm not following it exactly, but it's kind of giving me a guideline to go with. And to keep those lines nice and smooth, keep turning your paper, not the scissors, and that'll give you a smoother line on there. And then at the very end I'll kind of cut in to go right to that chimney so that it cuts in close. Then I kind of started testing it, and I felt like that one needed to go in a little further on that side, so I just trimmed a little more off, and by that time it looked about right. It looked like it was pretty balanced and even in where I wanted it. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that in place, and once that's all glued on there, I decided I wanted to cut out a stitched edge, so I pulled out a stitched rectangle die, and I went and cut that. I tape it in place with some post-it tape, and then I ran it through my die cut machine off screen. And because it's 2 layers of paper at the bottom, I kind of expected that it might not cut all the way through that back layer. It came pretty close, but the little tiny bits that were still attached, I just pulled my scissors to kind of trim that extra off. You could die cut each of those separate, but I didn't really mind spending the time just fixing it right at the end, because the top layer looks great. It's only the back layer that didn't quite cut all the way through. All right, to finish this off, I decided to add just a tiny bit of really simple coloring to that house, and I started with an outline. BG10 is a good shadow color, kind of my favorite for adding outline. And then I colored in the windows with a nice soft yellow. That was Y11. It just kind of gives like the glow of the lights in the windows, which was kind of a fun effect. And then the rest of the house I just colored in really simple with some warm gray Copic markers. Warm grays are kind of my favorite neutrals. You can use any gray, or you could color the house in browns or whatever your favorite color combo is. I just really like, especially the night sky appearance, I kind of wanted to keep the house fairly neutral, and that let the yellow in the windows pop a little bit more. And then I added, with those same grays, a little bit of a ground along the bottom as well. All right, that finishes this up. I'm going to adhere that in place. And then as one final finishing touch, I grabbed my glossy accents. I have a fine tip bottle on there, and I just put a little bit on all of the windows where that yellow was. And once that dries, that'll just give a little more of an appearance of glass, which is just one tiny little dimensional finishing touch that maybe not everyone would notice, but I thought it was kind of fun. All right, thanks so much for coming by today. Have a wonderful day. See you soon.